going on, everybody? So Duke basketball, the men's side has had a pretty nice last couple of games. They were able to beat Seattle at home 70-48. I think that was the game right after Thanksgiving, and then they had the big matchup in the what is it now, the SEC ACC challenge against Auburn, who was the number 2 ranked team at the time, and Isaiah Evans, the freshman, came in and did very well. Also, Cooper Flagg played really awesome too, and they ended up getting that victory at home, 84-78, which was great to see. And yeah, I was only able to watch a certain amount just because they kept getting close every time I started watching, and because Duke had the lead and it kept getting close, so I was like, all right, every time I leave, they go up by a certain number of points, so I'm gonna stop. So you're all very welcome. It's a nice big victory. Pretty much the big games that they had, they lost to Kentucky and Kansas, but were able to beat Arizona and Auburn. So those were the 4 toughest matchups, and then they have a game against Illinois in Madison Square Garden in the next couple of months or so. So that's going to be pretty interesting, and we'll see if they could end up going above 500 against some of the tougher teams on their schedule. And then the football team, yes, they did play against one of their rivals, Wake Forest, and they were able to beat them 23-17, and it was one of the first times in quite a bit where Duke football was able to beat North Carolina State, Wake Forest, and North Carolina, all teams in the same state of North Carolina, and sweep them 3-0 in the same season. So that's very awesome. Very glad I was able to witness this history, and hopefully they can keep it on going with first-year head coach Manny Diaz. And then when it came to a couple of rookies of the week and players of the month for Kia, they did name Jared McCain, the rookie from Duke, for the Philadelphia 76ers, the rookie of the month. And then they also named the player of the month, Jason Tatum from Duke, also on the East side. So yeah, they're just owning the East right now, and hopefully they'll be able to garner up some more, or even some of those other guys from Duke or USC can get some of those player of the month when it comes to the next couple of months. And then one of those assistants for Duke, his name is, I know his last name is Pat Key, but he was named for one of those Ryan Burroughs awards, which goes to the top assistant out there in the nation, just like USC's Deanton Lynn was also. So hopefully they have a chance to get that award to one of my 2 guys and be able to talk about it coming up here soon. And then PFF had some of like the highest graded defensive backs, and it looks like Chandler Rivers and Terry Moore of Duke are some of the highest, and I believe Rivers is like the number 1 guy. It's number 1 safety, yeah, when it comes to the PFF highest graded cornerbacks this season, which is very awesome. So hopefully that's good that he can end up going into the draft, but if he does have some years left, hopefully he does end up staying to help out solidify this defense going into the future. And then their wide receiver Jordan Moore was invited to the Hula Bowl or something like that. I think that's just like one of those senior bowls after the season to try to get some more eyes on you for the NFL draft and all that stuff. So congrats to him, and we'll see what he does. I thought he'd be better and get invited to the Reese Senior Bowl, but maybe he's not a senior, so who knows about that. And one of their running backs in Star Thomas, I believe, he now has 2,000 career FBS rushing yards, which is pretty awesome. So it's awesome he was able to do that while with Duke, because I believe he is a transfer. So nice for him to get that little bit of history, personal history for himself. And the wide receiver Eli Panko was named to the Brian Piccolo Award. I believe he ended up winning that. Yeah, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, congrats to him, and he was even honored at the men's basketball game too pretty recently, which is great. And I believe he's also a semifinalist for the Comeback Player of the Year, and I think that might be in the ACC. I could be wrong. And then the all ACC teams in 2024, the first team was obviously Chandler Rivers. You heard me talk about him recently. Second team, a couple of guys like Kennedy Charles, D tackle, Caleb Krings, the offensive lineman, Terry Moore, the safety, Brian Parker, another offensive tackle, Jordan Moore, the receiver, Ozzie Nicholas, linebacker, and Eli Panko, third team couple honorable mentions also. So yeah, congrats to all those guys. And I think even when it comes to the recruiting rankings, after I talked about them that Wednesday on signing day, I think they jumped up pretty high in the ACC according to On3. They're like number 6 now, and I think they were like the 10th or 12th ranked team right before all this early signing day had happened. So yeah, they jumped up very high, and hopefully they can keep moving forward and onward with some of those players that either come through the transfer portal or the now later signing period, which used to be the old signing period in February. All right, let's see how much information I could get out in 5 minutes. So the Duke women's soccer team did advance after beating Virginia Tech, I believe it was the other day, which is nice. And they also had their next game in the semifinals against hated rival North Carolina, but sadly they did lose on that game today, or pretty early. I think it was early on Friday. So yeah, it sucks to not only not advance to maybe the Final Four or the championship game, but also to lose to your rival. But either way, a very successful season, and hopefully they'll be able to come back even stronger next season. They did have somebody win something pretty recently. I believe it was Maggie Graham, one of their better players, is a Herman Trophy semifinalist. So hopefully she does end up getting that. And then Duke women's basketball did defeat Columbia the other day, so a bunch of nerds going at it. 77-61. Even Regan Richardson was named the ACC Co-Player of the Week, which is very cool, and she was also the MVP recently of that tournament they were at, which is nice. And the Duke women's volleyball team ended up finally getting a victory against Wake Forest, I believe, 3-0. And then Taylor Williams, the freshman, was named to the All-ACC freshman team, which is very cool, so congrats to her. Sadly, they did not make it into the tournament like the USC women's, but hopefully, like I said, they'll get some better recruits, a little bit more momentum, especially now with some of these newer teams in the ACC, and hopefully they can be playing against USC, hopefully, in the tournament next season. And the Duke men's baseball team, they're, according to some of these ranking areas, they are number 13 in the rankings class in 2025 when it comes to a place called Perfect Game, and number 17 according to Baseball America. They were able to get an outfielder from Florida in Lamar Edwards, an outfielder from Maryland and Andrew Duncan, a shortstop from California and RJ Holmes, and another shortstop from Georgia and Will Huggins. So yeah, a couple of nice solid players, a couple of very important positions there also with shortstop. So hopefully these guys can help add to what was a very good team last year, and hopefully they can get farther than what they did in the tournament last season. And the Chargers this last weekend played against the Atlanta Falcons on the road and got that victory 17-13. And yeah, 4 interceptions from Kirk Cousins, the opposing quarterback. The offense, once again, for the Chargers didn't really hold up their end of the bargain, and I think even the defense had a scoring touchdown as well, a pick 6. So defense definitely stepped up in this one. Hopefully that offense can turn it around for this weekend against the Kansas City Chiefs. They did make some moves before and after this game. They did place running back J.K. Dobbins and safety Alohi Gilman on IR, and they also signed Tony Jefferson once again to the active roster before that game. And then after the game, they did sign wide receiver LaVisca Chenault Jr. to the practice squad and release wide receiver Des Fitzpatrick from the practice squad, which is interesting. Chenault was a pretty good player at Colorado in college. And speaking of that defense, yes, Tariq Steele was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, all of, not just the rookies, which is pretty awesome because he had 2 interceptions, one of those being a pick 6. Congrats to him. And then when it comes to the rookie wide receiver leaders in receiving yards, Ladd McConkey is now number 1 in that category. I think if you lump him in with the tight ends, Brock Bowers, his teammate at Georgia, who is with the Raiders, is leading in total rookies receiving, but when it comes to just wide receivers, he is leading, which is very awesome since he wasn't the first wide receiver taken in last season's draft. And then I believe with the win, the Chargers were also able to eliminate the Las Vegas Raiders from playoff contention, which is always fun whenever the Chargers can do that. And then the LA Lakers, there hasn't been much to talk about, but they got a slim victory against the Utah Jazz the other day, 105 to 104. AD stepped up with 33 points and 11 rebounds, but like I said, they've been losing. They've had like a 3-game losing streak and a couple games lost on the road. To the east side, they just lost in overtime to the Atlanta Hawks on Friday, so not going to talk about losses, but yeah, it's been a pretty bad slide for them pretty recently. And then the Anaheim Ducks finally got some victories recently. Also, they did beat the Seattle Kraken, I believe, 5-2, and then they were able to beat the Ottawa Senators 4-3. So yeah, nice couple of victories there. They're still pretty low in the standings, I'm sure. Haven't talked about many wins recently, so hopefully they can turn it around before All-Star break and all that and get some more victories going towards the rest of the season. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.